to make sure that Shawfall can keep doing what Bastion does best. Hold down mouse 1 and clench.
So nothing too surprising, but you see the Gladiators 5 and 6 on hydration plays the damage heroes and 1 and 4 on the Sigma in the postseason. I think that speaks way more to Hydration's really strong Pharah and Doomfist play than the way he's played Sigma.
Yeah, no Pharah here for the shot.
They'll go
Rascal
with the
on the mate. So I guess they can, block off Shawfall for a time. Hydration is firing at the mate. Oh, they didn't do it! Remember what I said about playing with respect for your opponent? Oh, you just got punished.
You only lose 1.
Still, you lose Trichoban here. That's a big part of his shielding. And now, how does he join the rest of his team without getting knocked off again? Hydration knows just to watch this bridge.
He knows he could potentially get a free one here. Well, the Shocker trying to rotate around and get underneath the LA Gladiators.
They're moving the cart.
Yeah, different type of positioning where you haven't seen any other team do this.
Well, you can obviously contest the cart from inside the building on the lower level, and now they can try and flank around. Hydration has a barrage. Can he do it? Oh, the Immortality Field placed down was beautiful, but he couldn't find any kills. The field got taken down from Mott. Architect was all over that fight. That is amazing. Yeah. They broke that defense so well.
Such a really nice rotation there from the Shock. And as we talk about, being in the lower bracket, you have to play more maps and whatnot.
Be more innovative.
But you also have to watch and be prepared for more things. They've seen the Gladiators play against the Titans on this map. They knew what the Gladiators like to do, and they come out with a good strategy to counter it.
Is this the new answer on Rialto now? The mate. Rascal, you talked about it, Matt. While we were watching Horizon, said that's a no-brainer pick. For both Rascal and Architect, this guy's hero pools overlap in such a way that the options are almost limitless. The Gladiators now, though, they still have hydration on the fire. They can still do a heck of a lot of work from here. It's just tough because Trichoban can play an off-shield, right? Shawfall, though, caught inside the blizzard, hit with a bionic grenade, finished off by Architect, and Shaz is forced to look on. Petrified by the frost. And Architect is just mowing him down.
A nano boost on Architect.
What does that mean, Architect?
Moving towards the high ground here. Bastion always get hydration now goes away from Pharah, will go to Mei. So they want to close the gap here with the Mei, the Reaper, in the Lucio in place. Yep. But you give up a ton of ultimates, 4 ultimate percentages across the board.
Oh, look at this though. They're going to be able to get up close. Oh no, the Mei wall came out from the Shock. Prevented the Gladiators from moving up the stairs, and now Architect has got a raid on this parade. That is brutal. Kinetic Grasp there will only prolong the inevitable on the Shock, looking like they'll have another checkpoint here with oodles of time to spare.
I think, though, the hardest part to take with this Bastion setup, though, is this last part of the map. Getting through that final choke when you have the Mei on the other side, it's very difficult, especially of the Mei wall players off, potentially.
Sure.
Also, Supercharger Gravitic Flux, so see how the Gladiators decide to play it. The Amp Matrix on the other side, though, could be big. I mean, you set it up in front. It's going to be up on the high ground.
Amp Matrix to the high ground. Supercharger to the low. Raw has lost his bongo. Has he lost his groove as well? Now, looks like it. Going to be Void and Hydration now, very much caught out, and this has been one-sided. Only 1 kill for the Gladiators this entire map!
And it was the one where Hydration got the boop onto Choyoban, and that was it. So you come down to the end, you'll have a Coalescence here from Shaz, but Gravitic Flux, probably a Nano here from Violet. This is looking like almost a record pace here for the Shock.
I mean, they are looking to shake the monkey off their back and rewrite it with history of what happened here last time they came to Rialto. At least a couple times before.
Nano Bastion.
It's time. He's going to let rip. They've stayed with the Bastion this entire time. That wall won't last long, but nor will Shaz if he peeks out from that pillar any longer. Architect moves up, gets him in recon mode. The ultimate BM and runs Void down. It's Big Goose to try and stick around. Oh my! Shawfall now has to try and dance around the point to stay alive, but it's not enough. That is disgusting pace from the Shock.
They win the map pretty much with the way they did that first push. Like going around the outside at the beginning when Hydration boops Choyoban off looked very risky, but getting that positioning underneath the Gladiators, forcing the Gladiators down on the cart, then wrapping around the outside. It's a nice immortality field from Moth when the barrage comes through from Hydration to save everybody, but man, just taking that position taking that first point's really, I believe, the toughest part outside of the end. But at the end, so many changes happen for the Gladiators. You don't have any really big ultimate combos to fight.
The Gladiators, the motto since day one has been shields up, and they were not able to keep them aloft on that defensive attempt. 3 minutes 42 is definitely on the higher side of remaining time bank, and when your team only gets 2 final blows on a defense, that is what the clock looks like. To come back from that kind of deficit, we need to see a Los Angeles Gladiators that we've never seen before. They will have to surpass the limits that they've demonstrated so far, and it has to happen here.
The thing is that if they play the far up Bastion, they don't get aggressive on the card right away, you can see both teams just play this Bastion setup, just fire into shields for a good minute before we actually see anything happen. And
the second fastest!
that's crazy.
Well, they know it
in
too.
a playoff game, I mean, you're the shock.
Oh, yeah, I bet you the fastest was when the Stage 1 finals was when the Titans did it to it.
Ah, the Titans, yeah, that one was fast.
Okay, that was actually the 4th fastest, by the way, so yeah, chill out.
Yeah.
I've got a correction in my ear. I'm not correcting myself for once, so that's nice.
Mitch never claimed to be much of a stats guy.
But I'm making a correction. I didn't make that claim. I didn't write the lower third.
You just claimed it.
I didn't. I just read it. It's a difference, right?
It's debatable.
Hydration. This is very passive for him. Look at this, not committing. We'll go now. They have to know this is going to happen. Can they stop him? Oh, nicely done. Knocks the Sigma off the high ground. Can he get away with it? Ow! Look at that. It's like the Italian job. He somehow gets away with it, and still he's not being focused down. However, the Sigma of Choyobin's going to be able to get back to the rest of the team, and they managed to break Shawfall down again. Hydration, he's got to do more, Matt.
It's a difficult job. I mean, you're relying on him to put down enough damage, get behind, maybe make a play. Now he's trying to wrap around, trying to put pressure on Rascal here.
Again, he doesn't really know where. Oh my, that was, oh gosh, Moth is lucky. He was also so close to the roof that an AoE kill would have happened. Hydration got him. And that's because he hit an amazing air shot. Oh, you tried, Rascal. Hydration punishes him for trying to go for the barrage. That's hubris, son.
Shock jump on the cart.
They try and contest here, they have to. They try and leap upon the rest of the Gladiators here, but it doesn't really work out for them. It stalls out though, it's making this more costly. It'll give them time to come back for a hold before they get to the choke that is their next checkpoint.
But you know, if Hydration doesn't get that pick on the Moth, you may still be going here. Oh, you lose Shaz, so you're gonna have to get a res on this.
Not good, Rascal picked him off.
Yeah, we'll take a look at this Hydration 2K.
I mean, yeah, look at him, if he's too close to the roof. Oh, this is beautiful. It wasn't even AoE, it was direct hits.
And now he knocks Smurf in the drink in the live match, so no Arisa here for the shot.
We kept the live map pipped for a bit because there was no real engagement. Just to pick off there. Yes, Shaz was picked up and he was rezzed immediately. The Shock haven't had a look in. Now though, they'll be able to mount a bit of a defense. Violet goes for the amplification matrix in the choke immediately. This will force the Gladiator. Ah! Okay. Nicely done. Combines with Shaz. Gets rid of Rascal. Chocoba now forced to try and eat up as many of these rockets as it can. And my god, that's a lot of shield. Talk about junk in the trunk for the Sigma. Hydration's forced to back out or go over the top this time. Shawfall has tank mode configuration. Shields are in his way though. He needs to try and find a target without damage mitigation. He's found one. He's looking for more now. Just the one. Chocoba's brought back to life, but the rest of the Shock get absolutely dunked. Still haven't got that checkpoint yet. The stall is there. The Shock are making it costly, but the Gladiators, Tooth and Claw, are fighting through.
And I think if you're the Shock, you know that how difficult the last part of the map is to take. A few players spawning up close here. But if you can just window clock until the end, you feel like you get one really good hold, force them to switch off a bit, or play this less optimal Bastion comp towards the end because they have some ultimates, you're in a good spot to win it. So, big plays from Hydration though, to be able to unlock a lot of this point progress for the Gladiators.
31 direct rocket hits. All right, Shaz's immortality field is down. Perhaps it's time to party for the Shock. Repeating, Flux shield immediately deployed to protect the Bastion. They want to stick to it. Architect, cheeky lad wants to stay on that roll. Choyobin cut down the Shawfall. Great work there by the Gladiators to get the Shock onto the low ground there. They get rid of Shawfall, they get rid of Raw. Rascal back in the fight, and the Shock have come alive. They do lose Smurf here, and they need to shut Hydration down before he gets a barrage. Very quickly, Hydration gets out of the way. It would have been cut down awfully fast, but Architect's removed and Shaz and Hydration! What is this?
Well, you see why their record as a team is better when you have him on the damage dealers here in the playoffs. 5 and 6 with him.
41 rocket
damage.
direct hits to 25 from Rascal.
And I don't think it's really, like I mentioned at the beginning, I don't think it's really just about his Sigma play. I think it's just having him playing the Pharah and the Doomfist is much better.
Use ultimates, win the fight. Rascal's able to get the headshot on hydration, but the Shock have lost Smurf. And Shawfall set up comfortably in the backside here.
Choyobin popped the Gravitic Flux, got taken out instantly, so you get nothing from that.
Yeah, Void had a damage boost there from the Mercy. Big Goose using that Valkyrie to great effect, and here comes the tank! Chasing him down! 2 for 1 for Shawfall now, and it's just a cleanup on the point. The Gladiators, they stay alive. There's no chance of finishing the map with as much time as the Shock, but they've done well to get here. 3 minutes 16. The chant rings out amongst the front row and the crowd for the Gladiators, willing their team to get across the line.
Yeah, so this is where it's going to be tough for the Gladiators to get the payload inside and to the end. Playing the Pharah. Not a great sight line for Pharah. It's very narrow. I mean, you can spam corners, but looks like the Shock want to make a play for the Bash in the back. They do get control of the cart.
The Pharah is so dangerous against May and Reaper. There's not really any answer to hydration with this composition. He do as he pleases now. He walks into a room. That's a bit risky. Shield to put his way. Oh dear, the teleport of the Reaper behind him. He couldn't get away. Architect saw through it. He leapfrogs hydration with the teleport and takes him down. This is going to slow the Gladiators up a lot if they're not careful. Blizzard thrown in. This will force Shawfall out of position, but he's not getting out alive. He's finished off.
And this is what I was talking about. Now, if you're the Shock, you get this fight win. Do the Gladiators have to switch off a lot of this? I believe they do. So hydration, they recognize it. Chaz will probably switch over to Moira. You have to switch off of this comp here. So you'll have the Moira, the Lucio, the Reaper, and the Doomfist come into play. But now you've reset 4 ultimates across the board with 2 minutes to go. And if you're the Shock, you use what? You use an Amp Matrix and you use a Blizzard there. Now you hold on to these other ultimates. You're going to have a big ultimate advantage at the end of the game.
Raw does have a supercharger though. Hold, they try and catch the Ana. Wall comes up immediately there. Here's the supercharger. It's time to commit, but Choyobin gets 2 kills. The hyperspheres are so deadly in this short corridor. They bounce off walls. They do AoE damage. They implode, for God's sake. And so do the Gladiators. 1 minute 30 on the clock.
And what do? They just nano the Reaper. It's a really good Maywall from Rascal. Limited investment there from the Shock. If they don't overinvest in these fights, they're going to have an ultimate advantage the rest of the game with how these hero switches have worked.
Time is getting short. And the buff for the Gladiators is also dwindling. They rotate around. They still need to get this payload moving, so they flank with a Gravitic Flux. That is shrugged off, though. Rascal, just for the split second, uses Ice Block. And the rest of the Shock are unperturbed. Here comes an Amplification Matrix now. They're looking for some value out of it, but Hydration and Big Goose have opened up the account admirably for the Gladiators. Smurf Supercharger is down, and the Shock are confused. They don't know which way to be looking, it appears. Void forced back a little bit. They got Raw, and Hydration is now down. The Shock need to get it done. And they're going to struggle. Void and Shawfall carry.
It's all about the clock, though, for the Shock. You're going to get the payload here around the corner. It's going to get inside. For the Gladiators, phenomenal. You need to complete the map. Not going to have an option, really, to complete it with time in the bank. It's going to be close. But because those fights have gone on for so long, what do we have? We have Blizzard. We have Death
That's
Blossom.
so scary.
You're going to have a nano boost here as well. Going to be very difficult for the Gladiators to play around.
They have to bait the Blizzard almost. If they fully commit, it could be dangerous for them. They don't have the time to play tic-tac-toe here. They drop down. Meteor Strike. Shawfall got Choyobin, but the Blizzard, surely it's going to be coming. Rascal lays it down. Hydration. Can't move an inch. Still a 2-for-1 trade, and it favors the Gladiators right now as Smurf is getting left upon. Void, aggressive, nice and healthy as well. He is frozen up and Smurf has gone down. Rascal has to try and keep things alive here. Where are the rest of the Shock? Rascal into Ice Block. Moth kept it just a little contested from behind the pillar. Shawfall's got a Death Blossom though. And that is not the flower the Shock want to see in bloom. Architect had one of their own though, and they trade out. Supports both falling to the Death Blossoms. Architect wants to back away, but Shawfall will not let him get out. He does get Raw though. No Orisa left for the Gladiators here, and we are in overtime. Moth just stays alive a little longer, but a Gravitic Flux is going to make this hard for the Shock in overtime now. They finally get home. They get a minute. That's all they'll have. And it has to be enough for the Gladiators.
It has to be a good start to this offense for the Gladiators, because although they do get bumped up to a minute, the Shock will get a minute as well. So 4:42 for the Shock, 1 minute for the Gladiators, keeping their season alive here. Barely though, I mean, it came down to the wire there. I'm looking at the top down. Ain't nobody getting off the card here for the Shock. I mean, they've seen this one before. It's everybody on the cart trying to swing the fight. The Gladiators too strong there at the end.
This is about as close to a final stand as you're going to see in these playoffs. The Gladiators, their backs are up against the wall. A meager 1 minute to work with, and they must attack first into the Bastion Farah setup, no less. Daunting task, to be sure. But as Bren might say, Matt, this map can produce some erroneous results.
Very true.
Sometimes you can really squeeze a heck of a lot out of a minute here.
I can't stress enough though, I mean, this start needs to be good for the Gladiators. Like, you can't rely on hydration and get the Farah Mercy combo out of the sky and think you're gonna move the payload and get it going. You gotta get something else here.
Can the Gladiators rely on the Farah play? They need everyone working in concert here. And they have to be, honestly, the more than the sum of their parts. Immortality Field deployed by both sides here. Hydration looking for Rascal. This is astonishing, these direct hits. Rascal running away with his tail between his legs, and this gives Hydration a way of getting in, or around as it may be. He flanks wide around the back of this setup.
I mean, if he can take this Farah battle, it just alleviates some of the pressure that Rascal can put on the rest of the team, but it's very, I mean, he loses this. I mean, you're in a really bad spot for the Gladiators.
Moth
He's
took a big
trying to hit with another direct to Moth.
One more hit will do it. All Moth is, he's playing it very dangerously here. The cart still hasn't moved. It's now starting to move. They've got a Sigma on the ground. Void is shepping it forward. He throws up a barrier. It doesn't last long though. The Farahs are still fighting, but Roar is down. The anchor for the Gladiators has gone the way of the weary, and the Shock now want to try and collapse and finish the job. Big Goose with a Caduceus blaster. Just a dream now in his eyes. He's willing to chase. He can't get to the card, and the Gladiators are pacified on their attack.
It's one fight now for the Shock, and especially if you're the Gladiators, you have to think, do they come out with that Mei composition again and try and come under and flank around? Like, because at that point, if you're forced off of the high ground, if you're the Gladiators, you're pretty much playing on the corner where the cart needs to go to. You can't play far back because you have to contest, so you're fighting like in that mid-street, which the Farah, you think on the offensive side, would be able to put down a ton of damage. Players coming around from the both sides, so really difficult spot for the Gladiators to play out of.
And realistically, you know, there's been tension in this match because of the rivalry, because of what's on the line here. But the Shock, I mean, they've been dominant, especially in this map, Matt. And they're looking ahead now as well to some of their opponents, and it doesn't get any easier for sure, but they look like they're ready. The Gladiators now have to put on an astonishing hold here on defense, and they won't be able to sit back and let this happen. There will come a point where the Gladiators will have to commit to a defense on the ground to stop the payload from advancing. It's only gone 38
And in this
meters.
scenario, it's really tough because usually you're like, okay, well, we'll have like a Mei or somebody else go down and contest. It really kind of probably has to be your Sigma, because Sigma has the more mobile of the two shields. You can leave the Sigma shield, jump down.
Use the kinetic grasp of damage. You don't have like a Mei to be able to contest, so we'll see what the Shock decide to do. Do you rotate around yet again? So last time it was really Rascal who pushed the card up here. Nice Mei wall, buys him some time.
The Gladiators are just waiting this out. They're not doing anything. They're not repositioning. They know they need to play this safe. Concussive blasts come down from Hydration. No one is knocked into the water though, and Rascal has him trained. Looking for the shots here. But that payload is advanced.
You play directly in the middle of the bridge, you can't be booped off of it. So
The margin of error is gone, Matt.
now they have to consider dropping down, or at least playing a little bit closer to the edge. But this is the same way that the Shock were able to break them the last time.
Do or die. Shields up or bust. The Gladiators have to commit, but Hydration is down. Architect sets up with the turret. He brings Big Goose to the ground as well. Wings are clipped. Shields are cracked. And so is Architect on this Bastion. Working around to the side, and that is it. The culmination of a season for the LA Gladiators. They finally fall, but they're raw.